So many businesses and even designers rush into logo design before getting clear on the heart and soul of the brand. This could result in a logo or a visual identity that looks good but doesn't feel right. And that kind of misalignment can cost you big time in redesigns, wasted energy, and money, as well as confusion for you and your customers. In today's episode, I'm sharing why skipping this soul work is one of the biggest branding mistakes and how getting clear on your purpose, values, and personality, as well as your audience, will make your logo process 100 times more powerful and aligned. This is your invitation to slow down, go deeper, and build from the inside out. So go grab your favorite beverage and let's dive in. There's such a temptation to jump into visuals. I have found that in my experience as a graphic designer and illustrator. When I'm working with clients, they often avoid doing the groundwork because it's boring, it's not sexy, it's sometimes difficult, because it truly requires us to go within and to really think about things on a level that may not be comfortable and may not come easy. So the excitement that most people have about jumping into a logo is not unfounded. Stepping into those visuals are exciting. The possibility of turning your business or your brand into something that you can see, feel, and touch is invigorating. Recently, I had a client reach out to me asking what I would charge for a logo for their new business. And I hit them back with 30 questions. Not actually 30 questions, but a real solid 5 to 6 questions about whether they were ready for a logo. I asked them whether they really understood their audience. Do they have an idea of their mission, their purpose, and their overall vision? You don't have to have everything figured out, especially if it's a new business, but you at least have to understand what your business is about, who are you serving, and why, before stepping into the logo design process. Now, a lot of that stuff will be worked out in a discovery call with designers, but by having an idea going into that discovery call will save you time, save you energy, and possibly save you money. So these questions aren't to overwhelm you or bog you down or turn you off in any way. It is simply to assess if you're ready for a logo or whatever project that you are embarking on, and to also ensure that it is going to be the right fit for both designer and client. So had I jumped into designing a logo for this client that wasn't able to answer these questions, based on my own past experiences, it could have ended up being not a great fit for either of us from a collaboration point of view, or I could have delivered a logo that wasn't hitting the mark. So before we get too far down into this, let's talk about logo versus brand. And I'm going to use a very simple analogy for this. A logo is a graphic expression or representation of your brand. Think of it like an outfit. The colors, typefaces, and layout are an external expression of who and what your business is. A brand, on the other hand, goes much deeper and can sometimes be out of your control because it is how your clients and your customers perceive your business based on consistent experience. It is also how your business consistently behaves over a period of time, through every interaction, every touch point, and the values that your business and brand stands by, regardless of what you're wearing. So you can dress to impress and have the most expensive outfit on, but if your business has a crappy attitude and treats people poorly, that logo or outfit in this metaphor quickly loses its impact. And this is why it's important to not just know what your business looks like, but what you want it to feel like. And that understanding helps you build a brand that moves, expresses, and connects with the world in a meaningful way. So what do you need to know before exploring the visuals? And there's going to be a couple of things that you might want to write down here. We're going to talk about the internal foundations. So what do you do? Who do you serve? And how do you serve them? What drives you beyond profit? Is there a deeper meaning or a purpose for your brand existing? Where do you see your business in 5 years? And think big here. If you had no limits, no restrictions, and you had an endless budget, let's go big on this one. What do you stand for? What do you stand by? And how do you want people to feel when they're interacting with your brand? Now, once you've got this internal foundation set, you want to start thinking about how that shows up in the world. So if you were to describe this business as a person, what kind of personality traits or characteristics would they have? When they're speaking, in their tone of voice, how would they sound? Would they be light and playful, grounded and wise, bold and extravagant? And your audience, who are they? What do they care about? What are their desires, even their pain points? And how can you serve that? And these external foundations influence the design, copy, and presence, because if your brand is a soft, reflective brand, you don't want to have typography or colors that are going to scream in people's face. I'm thinking 90s neon. That is the complete opposite to that particular tone of voice or personality. So that's how we start crafting the visuals to align with that business. I just want to reiterate, you don't need to have everything figured out, especially if you're in a new business. Things will shift, adapt, change over time as you get more clear about your direction and who your audience is. And maybe you just need a simple basic logo for now, which you can hire a student or hire somebody to do something very typographic or basic for you before you invest too much time or money in something that could potentially change. So that's something to consider as well. But when your foundations, your visuals are rooted in something that most likely won't change, like your values or your purpose, your brand can then rise very intentionally, meaningfully, and magnetically from that space. So if this sparked any ideas or excited you in any way and you're craving a space to unpack all of this, I've created something specifically for you. The Brand Foundation Clarity Kit. It is a guided, self-paced workbook. It's a downloadable workbook that will help you define the soul of your brand before you even touch any visuals or hire a designer. And I do plan to write a blog post and do a podcast episode on how to choose the right designer for your project or your visual identity. So stay tuned for that. Now, I will say that this is not a how-to document on how to design a logo and sketch for that. It is reflective and it is designed to help you go within before building out. So get ready to do some tough work, although it is very rewarding work, because once you identify this, you never have to do any of this work again, because it is the root of your business. It has been identified, reflected on, written down. It is your compass for everything you do from here on out. And if you complete it and you want to co-create a logo together or a visual identity system that reflects your essence that you've uncovered in this PDF, I do offer design and illustration services for that purpose. So please reach out if that calls to you. Thanks so much for listening and sharing this space with me today. If you resonated with this episode or have suggestions for future topics, like this video and let me know in the comment section. Everything else you'd like to explore about my services or newsletter can be found in the description box. Until next time, my friends, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next episode.